The Indianapolis Colts could be preparing a surprising move. Sources say the team is talking with multiple franchises. The subject of those talks is veteran linebacker Zaire Franklin. Franklin is not just any defender. He led the entire NFL in tackles during the 2024 season. But the Colts are currently working to get under the salary cap, and that financial pressure could force difficult decisions. Trading a defensive leader like Franklin would be a major change. Now, the big question is simple. Will the Colts really move one of the league's most productive linebackers? The NFL offseason often produces unexpected storylines, but few situations capture the complicated reality of modern roster management quite like the one currently unfolding in Indianapolis. The Colts, a franchise attempting to balance competitive ambition with financial responsibility, are reportedly speaking with several teams about a potential trade involving veteran linebacker Zaire Franklin. The development has drawn attention across the league, not only because of Franklin's reputation as a defensive leader, but also because he led the entire NFL in tackles during the 2024 season. That statistic alone illustrates the scale of Franklin's impact. Leading the league in tackles is not merely a reflection of opportunity. It requires a combination of durability, football intelligence, and relentless effort. Week after week, Franklin positioned himself at the center of the defense's Colts, diagnosing plays and responding with remarkable speed and consistency. For Indianapolis, however, the conversation surrounding Franklin is not solely about performance. The organization is currently navigating the realities of the NFL salary cap, a financial structure that forces every team to make difficult choices before the start of the new league year. In many cases, those choices involve evaluating whether productive veterans can remain on the roster under existing financial conditions. Franklin's situation appears to fall within that broader category. While the linebacker has established himself as one of the most dependable defenders in the league, the Colts must determine how his contract fits into the team's long-term financial planning. Salary cap management often requires teams to make decisions that appear surprising from a purely football perspective. Yet within front offices across the NFL, those decisions are part of a larger strategic process. From a schematic standpoint, Franklin has served as a stabilizing presence in the middle of Indianapolis's defensive alignment. Modern defenses rely heavily on linebackers who can perform multiple roles within a single series. They must defend the run, cover tight ends and running backs in passing situations, and communicate adjustments to teammates before the snap. Franklin has handled those responsibilities with notable consistency. His ability to recognize offensive formations and anticipate developing plays has allowed him to remain one step ahead of many opponents. That anticipation, combined with disciplined tackling technique, has helped him accumulate impressive statistical totals. Still, the possibility of a trade raises important questions about the Colts' long-term defensive strategy. If Franklin were to depart, Indianapolis would likely need to identify a new on-field leader capable of organizing the defense and maintaining communication between position groups. Defensive units function most effectively when players trust one another's positioning and responsibilities. Losing an experienced linebacker can disrupt that rhythm. At the same time, the NFL is a league defined by constant evolution. Younger players enter the league each year with new athletic profiles and skill sets that reshape defensive possibilities. The Colts may believe that emerging talent on their roster is ready to assume larger responsibilities. If that belief proves accurate, the organization could view a Franklin trade as an opportunity to gain financial flexibility while accelerating the development of younger defenders. Potential trade partners around the league will undoubtedly evaluate Franklin's value through a different lens. Teams searching for defensive stability often prioritize players who demonstrate consistency and reliability. A linebacker who recently led the NFL in tackles represents a rare combination of productivity and experience. Contending teams, in particular, may view Franklin as a player capable of strengthening their defensive structure immediately. In high-stakes playoff environments, reliable tackling and disciplined positioning often determine the outcome of close games. For those organizations, adding a player with Franklin's skill set could represent a strategic upgrade. From the player's perspective, the situation introduces both uncertainty and possibility. Professional athletes understand that trades are part of the business side of sports, yet the prospect of changing teams inevitably brings personal and professional adjustments. New defensive systems, new coaching philosophies, and new locker room dynamics all become part of the transition. However, experienced linebackers often adapt quickly because the core principles of defensive football remain consistent across different teams. For fans in Indianapolis, the news has sparked a mixture of curiosity and concern. Supporters have watched Franklin grow into one of the most recognizable figures within the team's defensive identity. His work ethic and leadership have earned respect not only from teammates but also from the broader Colts community. The possibility of losing such a player naturally creates emotional reactions. Yet, seasoned NFL followers also understand that roster construction requires difficult trade-offs. Teams must evaluate the balance between veteran production and financial sustainability. As the deadline for salary cap compliance approaches, those evaluations become increasingly urgent. Ultimately, the outcome of these discussions will depend on how the Colts front office weighs immediate performance against long-term flexibility. If the organization receives a compelling offer, particularly one involving valuable draft capital, the temptation to move Franklin could increase. Draft selections represent the foundation of sustainable roster building in the modern NFL. They allow teams to acquire young talent on cost-controlled contracts, creating the financial space necessary to retain other key players. In that context, the Franklin situation reflects the broader strategic puzzle facing every franchise in the league. Success requires balancing loyalty to productive veterans with the constant pursuit of future competitiveness. The coming days will likely determine whether Zaire Franklin remains a cornerstone of the Indianapolis defense or becomes one of the most intriguing trade stories of the offseason. Either way, his performance and leadership have already left a lasting impression on the Colts organization and on the league as a whole.